Hello, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is Kristina, your host today. Today is a new episode of KSM Podcast, Doing Business Online with Kristina. And I'm so excited today to have my special guest speaker, far away from USA, lady Miri Lenoff. Miri, welcome to the new episode of KSM Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to do this.
Thank you for joining me. I'm super happy. I'm super excited. And Miri, tell us a little bit about you. Introduce yourself just for our
Sure.
listeners.
My name is Miri Lenoff. I work with primarily service-based businesses. I started about 10 years ago doing website design for services, and I fell in love with the process of lead generation, email marketing. So throughout these 10 years, I've transitioned from website design. I became more of a copywriter for emails. And now with AI, I'm more of a content marketer. So I've done a lot of quizzes. I've done paid advertising, organic growth, emails, of course, funnels, and a lot of other things related to marketing, mostly with service-based businesses.
Oh, that's fantastic, and you did you ever work in corporate? Like because I always ask my guest speakers just to share it because podcast is so dedicated to small business owners, male, females, to spread the word and move to the international market. So just for our listeners to share with us about your little background and what triggered you to start what you're doing now, what you do either that you do as
Sure.
your private business.
Yeah, I worked in a nonprofit organization at a community center, and I had to work weekends, and I didn't like that at all. I worked really long hours putting on big events. We had like 1,500 kids come from all over the world for a competition for a whole week. And I was the assistant director for that. So there were a lot of different committees that were volunteers that I needed to kind of like manage, departures and arrivals, which was my thing. But I assisted the director with different types of things that we needed to get done for the local delegation as well. Anything from like uniforms and organizing the events and, dealing with the food and what the kids are going to be eating, dealing with host families and organizing that. So that was crazy. That was one year. And then the other year, I actually took a delegation of 200 kids to New Jersey with other coaches. So I was kind of like managing that as well, which was fun. And, I was in my early 20s. I didn't have kids, but I knew that this was not going to be the life that I was envisioning in my future. Obviously, because of my kids. I wanted to have kids and I wanted to be with them. I don't just have nannies and have them take them places. I want to be with them. So my day ends at 3 o'clock because of that. Um, I also work in an educational company, and that I was joining because of I have a master's in international education. So I was working with students from all over the world, helping them throughout the journey of getting different types of degrees. And that was great because it was online. So that motivated me to be able to start a business that would be online. And I have to say, I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My father has his own business. My brothers both have their own business. My uncles, it's not something new to me. But I knew that compared to what they do, they work a lot and they work all day, every day, and even weekends. So I knew that I needed to have a balance. And because of that, I stopped. I have meetings throughout the day. If I need to have meetings at night, there's no problem with that. But my priority is to work 25 to 30 hours a week. I don't do more than that. And I make sure that I'm with my kids. And even if I need to bring my computer to gymnastics class or soccer class or whatever, I'm there with them and they know that I'm watching. So it's a different type of life than having to be in a cubicle 9 to 5 doing something that I don't love. I actually love Mondays because I get to do what I love. So that's kind of like in a nutshell how it came to be.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that because especially for mom, who mom mompreneurs, and when they have just like a schooling kids and other things. And when you mentioned that when you were solo, let's say that when you didn't have kids, you can just move and experience many things, work with students globally, and what you mentioned before. And this is some kind of experience. But when you wanted to be with your kids and be entrepreneur, it's different. So you need to schedule time. You need to have what is your priority in your life. As you mentioned, also to be with your kids and to watch them. This is such a amazing experience to be with them, and that they know that you are with them, which is and how you can educate them as mother, and father and other. So yeah,
Yeah, like for
it's not
example,
like
they
a grandma and grandpa. It's like when you are with your
exactly.
kids when they
Yeah,
grow up.
yeah. Like sometimes I wake up at 4 in the morning, a lot of times actually, because I just need to have more time for me. I like to, pray and be able to have a time for just me when nobody's bothering me and nobody's messaging me. And sometimes they wake up early. My kids are early risers and they see me there, sometimes working at the end of, my session with when I have time. So I think they see the way that I've structured my day, and they see their friends that a lot of them have, my kids' friends have a lot of them nannies, and they talk about that. And I tell them, look, everybody does what they can. There's no right or wrong. I just want to take you to your extracurricular activities because it's important to me. Not to say that it's not important to all the other parents, but sometimes other parents don't have the ability to do that, especially now when in the US, I don't know how it is in other countries, but both parents work. It's a norm. It's not something that, one person stays home. Most of my kids' parents, they have to be working, until 5 or 6 o'clock at night. So I think it's obviously showing them how I was taught, how to, you don't have days off. When it comes to holidays, it's nice that they're there, but I still have to work. When they have, you know, uh, a day off from school because it's teacher planning day or something like that. Sorry, kids, mommy has to work even for an hour just to check in. But the beauty of it is that I can be with them on that day off as long as I get my work done, within an hour or two. I can block the rest of the day to be with them. Um and I'm very efficient with my time because when you don't have the time, you maximize it. And I'm not on Facebook scrolling through social media while I'm working like maybe I would have if I had a 9 to 5, because I know that every single second of the day needs to be scheduled doing something productive. And I have every single, and I know we're hearing, but every single day I write my tasks of the day that I need to get done. So it's a process that you go through because you need to, because you want to maximize the time. And if you don't have those blockers in place, it's going to be very difficult to get anything done. So I think it shows my kids, but also it's for me to know that the time that I have is very precious and there's no more of it. You can't make more time, so you need to make the most of it.
And as you mentioned, this is a way how you can get much more productivity. And also, we're only ages this year, 2025, and next year we change ourselves, everything. And I really appreciate what you said to be with your kids. But if you schedule everything like today to be with me on a podcast, and I know from that time that we can say mostly the time is money. And this is so true because especially when you're a mom and when you have kids and want to be with you, and just like you wanted to educate them to create environment good for them to grow and to be such a great personas and excellent human being, how I can say that's it takes time, but I'm super happy with that because I really appreciate what you do. And when I met you online and when I was listening you online, I mean, with a lady from Australia, and I was connected with you.
Yeah.
And what was curious in that time, when I mentioned you, I think 2 years, 3 years ago. I cannot remember now, but it has been. And you said we were talking about email,
Yeah.
professional email. And that was for me so attracted me just to say, okay, we need to have professional, with domain and everything as a professional, as a serious entrepreneur, is how I can say it.
Yeah, for sure. I think, when it comes to any type of business, you need to solve a problem. So for me, solving the problem of email marketing is important because a lot of times we focus a lot on how many leads do I get? How do I convert those leads? But we forget that we already had leads, from before, not the new ones. You have to take care of the people that are already on your list. And people think that you need to be posting 24 hours a day, post on social media, where that's not the case. It's not productive to do that if you are not taking care of the people that you're getting their emails from. So with any type of business, you want to solve a problem. And the problem that I was solving for people is to be engaging with your audience so that they become warmer and you can close them, whether it's a customer buying your products or services or high ticket sales or whatever the case may be. So, email, it's something that a lot of people need to be able to really pay attention to. Unfortunately, it's something that it's not. Um, a priority. So my job a lot of times is to show people why they need to focus on email. I mean, I think it's crazy. There's like statistics that, 70% of the revenue of big companies comes because of email, because they keep in touch with their audience. And I'm not referring to emailing, your audience every single day, every single hour. That doesn't work. But if you have valuable content, if you're sharing with your audience what you're up to, what are your offers, how you're going to help them, how you're going to solve their problems, then that's a viable way to use email marketing. So I lead with emails, but now because of AI, it's so much easier to write emails. And I've evolved into content marketing that also encompasses email. Because when you have a company that posts different things than sends emails, it's not the best approach. So that's where I come in, where I take a look at at your company to see what you're selling, but I also take a look at the competition. I do the market research that's important to see what is the best way to approach online sales via social media and how can we make that happen.
When you
So
when you ask when you just I wanted to
yeah.
ask you something in terms of when you mentioned to research about competition, do you use some tools like for competitors to how do you, for example, if you wanted to search, let's say, give us example for XYZ company, let's say that company produces chocolate, and how we can, let's see, when we wanted to see competitors, how we can do that, like how do you do that? Maybe it's
Yeah.
going to be for
So
audience very as a master class that they know how to get benefit
yeah.
from there.
I'll summarize it as best as I can. So the first thing that I do, I go to their website and I see what are their offerings. What sometimes they have their price points there, sometimes they don't. But I want to get as much information as I can because if I go to their social media, then I don't get the full view of who they are. Then I do go into their social and I even opt into their email list to see if they're sending emails because if they're sending emails, it means that they have leads. It means that they're sending
And do
something
you
valuable.
go to their website and sign up for their newsletter, for example, of that
Yeah, of
company
course.
which you're going to research?
Yeah, I think, you first have to do the research to see who are the competitors and then, identify the first, the most important ones, the one, two, three, even five
And do you talk
competitors.
also about the competitors to sign up on competitors' side as well?
Correct. Yes, because I need to know what they're sending. I need to see what events they're having. It's important to know it's not about copying the competitors. If there's competition, it means that the brand that I am helping is going to flourish. Yeah. So if there's no competition, I will be worried because nowadays everything exists. It's very hard to be a pioneer. And one of my mentors said, pioneers get shot, and the settlers are the ones that grow. Because you don't want to be the first one necessarily to come up with something. You want to be a settler that, like for example, with the example of a bakery. If there's no bakery in the town, it's going to be very difficult to convince people to eat bread. But if there's already one bakery, two bakeries are probably going to be able to survive. So it's the educational component doesn't have to exist. It's already there. We already have it. So um, I definitely love to see what competitors are doing because it allows me to see how we can support the brand and what are some of the things that they're doing that we can adapt. And again, I'm not here to copy people and to do the same things that they're doing, but you're just taking inspiration. And there's always going to be a way to be inspired by something without copying it. I'm not about copying anything. I think everybody should have their own um, their own company in their own way. You shouldn't copy anything, but you do need to know what they're doing because you're servicing the same people. So I look at their website, I take a look at their services, then I go into their social media and I see how active they are. Sometimes people are not
Yes,
in
they're
every,
not active, maybe 2, 3 years, or just go on Instagram. Let's say you can see posts before 6 months, 10 months,
yeah.
or yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like an audit to see what's happening. And I think if you haven't seen what your competitors are doing, you should definitely do that because it's going to tell you, if you're in the right space. Like for example, I'm not saying that you should do this, but if your competitors are doing an event a week, then you might consider doing events and maybe not every single week, but just try it out for you and your audience. It might work, it might not work, but at least you are doing the competitive research to see how your audience, because if it's the same audience, obviously it's going to be attractive to them, and how are they responding to that. So it's very important to do research first, and that's something that not everybody does. A lot of times, this is a step that they
And what
skip.
is your experience with that? As you mentioned, I was cut off you, just sorry about it, but I wanted to see much more for our audience just to share with you and connect because this is your
Yeah.
experience. For example, when you mentioned that some of you go to some social media, depends where is their audience and competitors, and you can see that they are not active. And do you think that you have some kind of percentage or from your research, when you researched, let's say there are many of them who don't post on real, exact, like they're not active maybe
Yeah,
sometimes.
and that's a competitive advantage for you. So that's why, looking to see where they are, but not only looking at your competitors, also doing a keyword research in a lot of different sites to see what people are asking for. There's a tool called Ask Answer the Public, and if you haven't used, it's a great tool because it summarizes questions and it's free for 2 searches a day to see what people are searching for about a specific topic. Let's say I'm working with a dog trainer. So I type, dog training in the search bar, and it's going to give me questions that people are asking, themes, topics, everything about that.
And
So
is it
that
is this is like tag words or keywords? What people
keywords,
keywords? Okay,
keywords.
okay.
So that's one way. Another way is going on Quora and looking to see what people are asking about that topic. It's also an awesome site. Another way is going on Instagram or TikTok and doing the research and like putting in a keyword dog training and looking at the reels and how many views it has, how many likes it has, because that tells me what is viral content and what are people really looking for. So that is incredible. So notice I haven't even mentioned AI because all of this are things that we need to do first because AI comes after this. We don't want to prompt AI to create some topics and content, which I've shared in my videos that you can do that. But if you really want to know and you really want to give AI a great prompt, do this manually. You can actually take the stuff and create a Google Doc and paste the information that you're searching and say, okay, here's a competitive research analysis of what I've done with my competitors and also with the tools like Answer the Public and Quora and the research analysis on Instagram. And AI can understand pictures. AI can read the transcript of the videos. So you're gonna take the transcript of the videos that have gone viral, and you're gonna take it to AI, to ChatGPT, whatever makes you happy. And once you take it to there, then that is where the game changing, experience comes, because you're feeding it the information and you're telling ChatGPT or whatever AI, I want you to summarize this and I want you to give me what are some of the things that we can do to make sure that we serve our audience in the best way possible. And because you're giving AI examples, which AI loves examples, it's going to give you an incredible way and an incredible strategy that you can implement. And then comes the implementation part, which is the fun part that a lot of people don't want to do. So then I do it for them.
That's lovely, I share such amazing experience, and I think that we will organize and schedule once to talk about AI specifically once the new episode. But today I wanted to
Okay.
ask you many questions about, and when you mentioned to go to the website of those competitors and put your email, do you after that do you get back and sometimes you send them email as well? Do you do
Well,
that list, for example? When you use
yeah.
something,
So
they put your email, but you have now your email of them, and you can send it from your clients to that competitor's company or some. Do you use
yeah.
that
So
list after
I,
that?
d- I
Put on
do.
your
I do
list.
use so it depends on the package that my clients, sign up for. But all of this is step one, the competitive analysis of how do you really get to know a company that I know nothing about dogs. So I'm gonna have to really go deep into, what are pet trainers or dog trainers doing? So these are the steps that I would take to, in a day, I'm gonna be not an expert, but I'm gonna know enough to be able to come up with a strategy for a client that that needs help with that. So this is all a way to, number one, when you get their emails, again, putting everything in a Google Doc that shows the information of what are people doing so that I can come up with a better strategy for my client. So yeah, I use their emails, I use their website, I use their social media, anything that's public that you can use. Again, I'm not copying it. I'm just getting inspired and I'm getting ideas from what they're doing because I know that, my client needs help. They're probably not posting enough on social. Maybe they're sending one email a year, which is probably not great. So I need to know what are some of the things that I can do so that we can take it to the next level. And, when it comes to, like I said, getting leads, you could do it, through social media and people are focused so much on that, but we don't focus on the email marketing piece because these are the people that have already opted into your list. This is more of a private conversation between you and them, as opposed to social media that 80% of the content that you post is not going to be seen by all of your audience. Like, I mean, or 100% of the content that you post, I'm sorry, gets seen by only 20% of your audience. So imagine that 80% of your audience on whatever social media platform never gets to see your content. And when it comes to emails, 100% of the people see that you sent an email because at least they're going to see that it's there if it's in your, in whatever promotions tab or primary tab. That's another thing for discuss. But they're going to see it, whether they open it or not, doesn't matter.
And
It's
we can
there.
say email marketing is a king in
Yes.
content marketing. This is still.
It's still, look, maybe SMS is king because it's more direct. So it could be, but you can send an SMS message every week. That's just too much. People get tired of that. You can say maybe once every 2 to 3 weeks, maybe once a month. But email marketing is, and it's also very short when it comes to SMS. But email marketing, you have a lot more freedom and you can bring them back to your social media if you want because it's a funnel that never ends because you send one today, then you can send another one in a few days or tomorrow, depending on your brand, or the next week. So, it's such an important piece that people forget about it and they don't give it the respect I think that it deserves.
Yeah. And Miri, you're amazing, because I have a lot of questions for you, but sometimes time consuming, we need to,
It's okay. We can
it's
keep
okay.
going. This is a
So
great
let
conversation.
me
We can keep
know
going.
about you mentioned me before we connect again. You do some kind of transition. Do you still do email? Because when I met you,
Yeah.
you work on that way. You do something as well now, similar, and which can you share with us? And who are mostly your clients? Who do you
Okay.
mostly serve and solve their problems?
Sure. So, yeah, so in 2023, July 4th, my third baby was born, and I stayed home with her for almost a year and a month.
The best what you have done in your life. So
Yes. I was
congratulations.
working, I was nursing and writing emails at the same time. I was walking her in the stroller and taking Zoom meetings and just it was crazy. But it was rewarding because I got to take her to, the mommy and me classes, and I would schedule my meetings around, those classes every single day. So it was incredible. I worked maybe 5 to 7 hours a week. That was it, so that I can keep in touch with my clients. And I would work at night. I would work whenever I could. So I didn't really have a schedule, but she went back to school in August. So, that's a year and a month. And I guess she didn't go back. She just started school. And that's when I said, okay, I really love my work. I feel really excited that she's gonna start school because she needed it. She needed the social, she's a third baby. She needed to be around kids and, to learn different things that I cannot, give her. So that's when I realized that because of AI, email marketing is something that business owners can do. And I was kind of being replaced by it, but I didn't see it as a replacement. I just saw it more as a way to embrace AI. And I use so many tools for AI right now. And to do something even more exciting and a little bit more for my clients or future clients, because the clients I have now are still email marketing, and I have a couple that have taken on the content marketing piece. So that's when I said, you know what? If AI is here to stay and it's going to grow, I'm going to embrace it and I'm going to offer something even better. Before I was solving the problems of email marketing, but now I can use content marketing and include email marketing in that package. So that's what I did. And, right now I have an agency actually that does website design and accessibility of websites. So if your website is not accessible to, like we have things that you need to have in a brick and mortar type of store or business, you need to make sure that your website is accessible for people who are maybe visually impaired or whatever the case may be. So that's what they do. And with them, we do everything, the whole thing, the content marketing, the email marketing piece and all that. But I also have other clients it's a media company that wants to help moms give their kids more options to eat health, I guess, more fruits and vegetables. I also work with a lawyer who helps investors, invest or move to the United States. So mostly in Florida. I also have a leadership coach that I help with. That one is with her website and visibility as well. Then I work with a coach that helps women come out into the workplace from, being a mom for many years. So that's also incredible. I also help a soccer coach, who actually has sessions with kids and works with kids. I also help a graphic designer who needs help with her emails because she's done so much for other people that she forgot to, again, the same thing that a lot of people do. She has a lot of people in her list and she doesn't know how to connect with them the right way. So that's another one. So all of these are service-based companies, and I don't know if I forgot any of the other ones.
You share, but you work with coaches, managers, leaders, lawyers, um,
Yeah.
many
Uh,
graphic designers. They don't really have
right.
time to send massive emails, So
Yeah,
Miri
I
is
think
here.
it depends. It depends on the scope of the project. Some of them I meet with them once a month and we do a little bit of coaching and I help them with their website. Other ones have my 30% of my time. With the lawyer, for example, I run her operations, I manage her team. It's more than just marketing. I've been working with her for almost 4 years, so thankfully it's been great with her. Yeah, and there's also other ones that I have that it's not that it takes a lot of my time. It's just showing up to a meeting, once a month and being able to help them. Obviously, they're not the bread and butter of my business, but I don't want to let them go because we've developed a really strong relationship. Even though I don't do websites anymore, I don't just say, okay, I'm done working with you. Here's somebody else that you can work with. I do value relationships a lot. And I could just let them go and find other clients for content marketing, right? But that's something that with them, I've been also working together for almost 4 years, one for almost 6 years. So it's one of those things that um, whether I meet you on Instagram and we become clients and you become a client or we become friends, I really value that. I mean, you're a prime example that I reached out to you because I had the baby and I wasn't doing any
Yeah.
meetings.
Yes,
And I was
I
like,
was
Kristina,
thinking on
let's
you.
catch up. Yeah,
And
exactly.
thank you so much for getting me back. And when you mentioned, and I'm a very fan of long-term relationship, either to
Yeah,
nurture them like a plant, because as you mentioned, long-term relationship, and you mentioned your client. You have done web design, but also you created new services. So you have to find a way to still be with them in business relationship to help them once a month, what you mentioned, or however.
correct.
And this and the beauty of clientele is also building stable relationship and valued and credibility and everything. So that's
Exactly. Yeah, and I think I'm at a point where because I was in transition, in the past, right now is February, so I don't know when you're gonna air this, but basically it's been 5 months of redefining kind of what I do. So I asked them for feedback. So the same way that I'm helping them, they've helped me because they're coaches. They're experts in what they do. And I was able to, bounce ideas off of them and say, hey, listen, I know we've been working together with, say, emails or website design or whatever. What do you think that is a challenge in your business other than what we're talking about in these meetings? And they said content. A lot of times they don't know what to post or AI doesn't give them what they want. So a lot of we focus a lot on how many views I'm getting per month or per video or per post or carousels. We're afraid to record ourselves as authentic as we can be. And we don't realize that, a lot of the people that I've connected with, a lot of times they don't even leave comments. But within my friends and my family, they see my videos and they see what I'm doing. And they've actually contacted me to help them. If you meet somebody at a networking meeting and you give their information when it comes, you get their information so that you can connect with them. A lot of times, they check out your profiles and they want to make sure that you're legitimate. So it's not so much about how many views you're getting and how much growth you have. It's about showing up, authentically and showing what you can do and how you solve a problem online. So, to answer your question, yeah, it's a lot of clients and, I have to manage my time. But in the same way that I was redefining myself, they've helped me to understand what is needed right now and what does the market want. So it's a two-way street when it comes to relationships. You know what
And
I mean?
I really appreciate your story because you're a very authentic person, and I like your authenticity because I can help this. We have such a similar, I don't know, but it's starting from email marketing professional, which is so great. And Miri, I know that you have to go still. Before we ramp up, how yeah, as you mentioned, in terms of reviews, it doesn't matter. You need to connect with that person, not just to have. There, one lady, she said, "Okay, I had 15 views. She was in a podcast live, but no one getting back to her was." didn't get back, So I will put all information, all links. This is going to be on
Sure.
Apple, Spotify, Amazon. It's going to be on YouTube. I finally built it up my YouTube channel. Video is on
Amazing. I'm so
Facebook, it's
proud of you.
Mary, but now I have a public link. And let me know how people can reach out to you. What is your most favorite platform that people can connect with you? We'll
Yeah,
let you
so
first.
right now I love Instagram. I think video is the future. LinkedIn used to be my favorite, but LinkedIn videos are not, the best. It's easier to scroll through Instagram than it is LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is gonna get there. So you can connect with me on Instagram. I'm Miri Lenoff, just Mirilenoff as in Frank. So you can connect with me there. You can visit my website, mirilenoff.com. You can schedule a call with me if you want to get to know me. I attend a lot of networking meetings and I've become a pretty good connector. I try to connect as many people, to different things, to whatever they need. Again, we're here to help and support each other. It's not always about money, but it's about relationships. And the money will come, trust me. So yeah, I think those are the best ways. I am on LinkedIn, I am on Facebook, I'm everywhere. I'm on TikTok, but Instagram is where people and I really, I start conversations just like I start conversations, with people that, you go
Yeah,
to
I know
networking.
how I was listening you
We
live,
do it
so
here on Instagram.
so this is
Yeah,
how I
yeah.
connected, sent you message.
Exactly. That's how we
And
connected. That's why I like it so much.
yes, and we're
I
here,
met
still
you.
here. Yeah. So before we ramp up the call, what will be the message for our audience? I always ask this question. What would be the message for audience who wanted to start business, who are in stuck, and if they have business idea but they don't know where to go? What do you suggest them? What will be your message to encourage our audience to start their own business or do
Don't start
transition?
it. Don't start it unless you do research, because I'd rather have you start a business that has been proven and that you know and you have the skills to bring it to life than starting a business that came from your mind that you don't know if it has been validated. And I speak from experience because I have 3 courses that I spent 6 months creating and nobody bought. So don't create products until you have a waiting list, until you have people that say, yeah, I would like to attend that. And you can just put up a post on Facebook and say, I'm thinking about creating this workshop. By the way, I do have a workshop coming up on lead generation and stuff like that. And the reason why I have people signed up is because I did that. I asked people what they wanted, and I'm going to deliver it live. So that's a prime example of kind of like the process that you should take, or I shouldn't say should, because everybody has different ways of doing it, but that you could take if you don't want to spend hours creating something that people just don't want. So ask friends and ask strangers. They're going to be more honest than
If you
friends.
ask family, maybe they will be so loyal, like to you,
Yeah,
close to you, and they can say, "Okay, this
yeah.
is good." But maybe, yeah, you're right. Ask
Yeah.
strangers, people who you do
Ask AI too.
know.
Ask AI. Put up I'm thinking about doing this on Facebook. Look at the tools that I've mentioned. They're great for research, and just do it. Nobody is looking at you, and
And also,
nobody
you can ask
cares.
Miri because she can help you
Of
also.
course,
Because she
that's
was
the
in that
last
space.
thing.
If you wanted to start business and you don't know how to research it, go to the mirilenoff.com or Mirilenoff Instagram and connect with Miri. She can
Yeah,
help you a
a
lot.
100%. I'll be happy to help. But the main thing is that a lot of times we have this incredible idea, like, things that come to our mind. We're like, oh my God, I have to do this. And we don't do it. And then we're like, okay, I'm going to do it. And then you do it, but you don't think that it's going to work. So it's better to do the research to see if you're going to develop the skills that you're going to have to when you build this business that it's already part of what people want. And always ask yourself this question, what problem am I solving? Because if you're solving an important problem, then you have a business. If not, it's going to be very difficult to make money off of that. It's just the truth.
Thank you so much, Miri. It was a
No
really,
problem.
really a pleasure having you on my podcast the first time. And I'm
Yeah.
a big believer that we will connect again very soon. And I would love to speak like a masterclass about AI and email marketing. That will be such a good point of view. This is your
Yeah.
this is your brand. This is your core of your business in some way, but not
Yeah, for
because you
sure.
have similar. Thank you again, and see you very soon in our new
All right.
episode. Have a lovely day, and
Thank
bye for
you.
now. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure again, and bye
You
for
too.
now.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.